Kat Timpf in for Greg on this special edition of Gutfeld. On Monday, Hillary Clinton said that the U.S. was in a weak position regarding negotiations with Iran. Iran also describes what a person does when she's trying to murder them. Oh boy, here we go. All right. 3 Southern California men have been arrested for stealing $1 million worth of Legos. If found guilty, they could be sentenced to 10 years of stepping on Legos with their bare feet. In California, a zebra escaped from his owner's property for the second time in 2 days. He was recaptured working at Foot Locker. President Trump criticized the Pope as weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy, but admitted the Pope is a great interior decorator. Carnival Cruises is offering a wedding package starting at $1,800. The fee includes 10 guests and 1 divorce lawyer. President Trump blockaded the Strait of Hormuz in a standoff with Iran to see who blinks first. "Not me," said one woman. Oh. Speaking of, the U.S. military said no ships made it past the American blockade in the first 24 hours. And Gavin Newsom asked, "Do you need help up the trains?" Scientists now say lobsters do feel pain after researchers gave them painkillers. And notice the lobsters began ignoring their children and binge-watching Netflix. And finally, tomorrow is tax day. So remember, if you buy Greg's book, you can write it off as a charitable donation. Okay, to the monologue. So, Eric Swalwell has resigned from Congress and ended his run for governor of California after allegations of sexual assault and misconduct from several different women. And while right now he's afforded the presumption of innocence, allow me to say, that guy. Yeah. The allegations were so serious, even his own party couldn't ignore it.
I believe that he should resign, and you cannot do what he did, and I believe the survivors.
Will you vote to expel Eric Swalwell?
And Congressman Gonzalez, I would.
The accusations are absolutely heinous, and his admissions betraying his family are deplorable. So Eric Swalwell needs to resign. He needs to drop out of the race.
It's be investigated and if found true, and I think we need to give the victims the benefit of the doubt. If found true, then he should resign.
I think he should probably resign, and I'll have to see evidence before I vote to expel.
There seems to be enough evidence that if this came to a floor, I would vote to expel.
But hey, Swalwell should have no objections. Just listen to his own words coming back to haunt him.
All these companies and individuals who've done these drug deals with Donald Trump, we need to make it clear as a Democratic caucus that when we have the subpoena power, it'll all come out.
It's all going to come out. And so we can do it now and do it in a bipartisan way. If you do not come forward right now and you enable more corruption on Epstein or the weaponization, you will be before Congress and it will all come out.
My Republican colleagues do not trust women. That's what this is entirely about. Trust women, my friends. Trust women.
Little did he know, his own horrible accusations were gonna come out. Multiple women have accused him of sexual assault or misconduct, including a former staffer. And this woman, Lana Drews, who came forward today with her own harrowing story at the hands of Swalwell. All of these are grave claims that should and will be investigated fully. Now, Swalwell says he's, quote, deeply sorry for mistakes in judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegations that have been made, but that's my fight, not a campaign. What mistakes in judgment is he talking about? A mistake in judgment is if I ordered chicken noodle for lunch and then I wish I had the minestrone. It's assault if I throw the soup on someone's face. So, in one weekend, his career came crashing down, like more than 140 pounds in his feeble bench press. Dems who endorsed him in the California governor's race are now sending their donations to charity. Then there's the celebrities who gave tens of thousands for his governor's campaign. Hopefully they'll be just as quick to distance themselves. But hey, they backed a different guy. The Swalwell who once told us to believe all women.
For Brett Kavanaugh's sake, if he is innocent, I hope tomorrow he opens his statement and says, you know what? Bring in all the victims, allow them to be heard, allow them to be questioned. That will clear his name if he's indeed innocent.
As somebody who has spent my time in Congress working to stand up for the rights of victims, about sexual assault victims who deserve justice.
Former prosecutor and a dad of a little girl, and you, that we have to do everything to stand with sexual assault victims.
Well, he got what he wanted. The victims are being heard. Now, this is serious stuff, and everyone should treat it that way. And we should ask if people knew about this before and said nothing. But for now, the party's claiming they didn't know a thing.
Some Republicans and others are saying that Democrats turned kind of a blind eye, that they knew what he was up to or what the allegations
That is
were.
absolutely positive. And it's true that they may say that, but it is absolutely not true.
You had no idea?
None whatsoever.
This man led a double life. He lied to us. He lied to his family, lied to his constituents. I was manipulated. I was lied to. And everyone else was too. The rumors I heard were that he was just a flirty social guy. That's it.
People who are in positions of power and authority over others need to be held accountable when they take advantage of that position. And frankly, I'm glad that he'll be gone.
I'm not sure who knew what, but the truth needs to come out. And maybe there will be a ripple effect. Republican Tony Gonzalez is also resigning from Congress after admitting to an affair with a staff member who died by suicide. And 2 other House members will face their own scandals when they return to the chambers this week. We'll see what happens. And as for the California governor's race, who's going to come out on top? Katie Porter? She yells and throws steaming mashed potatoes at human beings. Now she is looking like the nice one? Good luck, California. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He likes to check your prostate the old-fashioned way with an audience. Chief Medical Officer at the wellness company, Dr. Drew Pinsky. He pretends not to know his fly is always open. Host of Jim Norton Can't Save You, comedian Jim Norton. When he performed at the zoo, the hyena stopped laughing. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. She's bubblier than a Red Bull IV. Correspondent at The Federalist, Brianna Lyman. All right, Drew.
Hey, Kat, today
Doctor.
Thank you, ma'am. Today is such a shocking day for me.
Yeah.
I agreed with every word Elizabeth Warren just said. It's such a shock to my system. This guy, as you said, F him, and we'll see what happens. It's whatever is going to come to him is coming to him. But what has me so disturbed is apparently people knew about it. They know about others, and there's a fund that we pay for to cover for these people.
Yeah.
That is disgusting. We have this. We can't stand for this. Your money is being spent to cover up and to pay off their indiscretions. This is wild.
It's wild. Absolutely. It's like pay your taxes. It's the patriotic duty. And then it's being used for this? I don't care who these people are. All of this needs to come out. I want to know about everybody.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes. Thank you. Brianna, according to the New York Post, by the way, including another more bad news, guys, he's still eligible for his pension and congressional gym membership. What?
You know what? He's not going to need the congressional gym membership if he ended up in jail because they just do their little own workouts. And to Dr. Drew's point, there was like this whole conspiracy that apparently nobody knew about this. This has been like the biggest open secret, just for some evidence. East Bay political journalist Steve Tavares, I might have mispronounced that, he said that Democrats in local California leadership knew about this for years. You had another reporter who got into a Twitter fight and she said, oh yeah, like I knew about this in 2020, but it wasn't my beat. Your beat wasn't breaking what would have been a massive career story for you. Then she says she passed on the notes to her colleagues and they did nothing about it. So not only is Eric Swalwell a potential villain in this story if these allegations are true, so is the media, because they were complicit in this cover-up. They would have given him the Brett Kavanaugh treatment, the Donald Trump treatment, if he had an R in front of his name. But they gave him the Democrat treatment, which is, oh, can't see anything until it's politically inconvenient.
Now they're congratulating themselves for the investigative.
Oh, yeah, Brian Stelter, he's like, it was us, guys.
Also, I'm sorry, but what is a grown-ass man doing with a Snapchat premium account?
And who accepts that?
Not for nothing. Red flag number one, if you ask me. Joe?
Yeah, he's in big trouble. I mean, you know it's bad where he's getting condolence calls from Anthony Weiner.
He's going to take him to some meetings.
He could. I mean, I don't know if he's going to, maybe he'll schedule a big interview, but it'll probably be with Chris Hansen, knowing what a pig he is.
Ooh.
He, is anyone surprised? He always was like the most obnoxious, grossest, always sweaty and talking trash. We haven't even addressed the farting, the constant farting. And now he's pawing women, and he's like Pepe Le Pew without the charm.
Yes.
But I don't know exactly what they have on him, but I'll give the Democrats credit, because when they want you gone, you are gone.
Yeah.
They don't let you Mitch McConnell around for 2 decades. You're out.
I'm so glad you brought up the infamous fart. I believe we have Jim. I'm going to let you comment on this. All right, we're going to play the tape.
Do we have the fart?
I think we do have the fart, right?
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to him cheat an election.
Did they enhance that?
Wait, have you never seen that?
I've never seen that. But I now support Eric Swalwell. I mean, how do you not love a guy that does that? And by the way, you probably didn't mean to, but you really sold me on Katie Porter. I never liked her, but now I know she's fat and she throws mashed potatoes. I'm like, how do you not support a person like that? I don't know if he did this stuff or not. He seems like a bit of a creep, but I do like the fact that he had sex with a Chinese spy. There is something to be respected about that. If I could pull that off, that's not an easy feat. She wouldn't like it either. I'd tell you to put on the deli gloves. You're not going to like where I hide the secrets. What? Under the couch.
I love that this is the first time the audience has been truly disturbed all night.
Yeah. The whole monologue about his assaults, like, yeah, that's all right. And I'm like, hey, deli gloves. Like, whoa, Jim, please.
Jim, if you're going to try and support Katie Porter, I hope you know a good chiropractor. It's going to feel some lumbar pain.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm shocked. I mean, whenever somebody in Congress presents themselves as one way and turns out to be completely different, I can never believe it.
I know, so unlike them. All right, before we go, come see me on my national tour. I'll be in Tulsa, Fort Worth, New Mexico, Honolulu, Oxnard and Irvine, California, Naples, Florida, and just announced Las Vegas, baby. Go to therealkatttimpf.com for tickets. And up next, socialist shopping.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.